Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. This is Brunch Boxing, and I'm your host, Matt. Today, we are going to have a very, very special guest. So, I want you guys to bear with me and just make sure you guys join in, join in on the conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun. Uh, we're gonna have we're gonna have the Savage Mike Kimbel join us. It's going to be a nice interview. He has some stuff coming up that I think you guys would be very, very interested in. He's returning to the boxing ring, so you guys should definitely, definitely enjoy it. I can't wait for uh, Mike to join us. But I wanted to start the show off with talking about the news of the day, basically. Um, there's some stuff going on in boxing that a lot of people have been talking about. Mainly, everyone's been talking about um, everyone's been talking about the congressional hearing that Oscar De La Hoya and Nico Ali Walsh and Nick Khan and Tim Shipman were a part of. And so, and keeping with that theme, I decided to write and really, it's one of the first times that I've written an editorial article about it, if that makes sense. Usually, usually what I do is I write strictly the news. You know, I like to keep it basically the news, but I actually this time uh, decided that I wanted to give my opinion. You know, hey, what's good, JBZ? Yeah, I wrote an op-ed. You should check it out, man. Check it out when you get a chance. Um, actually, I wonder. Let me see, because this is my first time using StreamYard, so I'm gonna need y'all to bear with me. I've never used it before, so usually only my guys use StreamYard. So I'm gonna need you guys to bear with me while I'm doing this. But let me see if I can drop the article in the comments. Let me see something. Let me see if this works. Hold on. Let me see. Copy, paste, and then boom. Okay. You guys let me know if you guys see the article that the link to the article. Yeah. Oh, listen, Jr. I'm not advanced enough. I am not advanced enough to do the whole share screening thing and all this stuff. And plus, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna try to share screen, and then all of a sudden, it's gonna be like porn or something. I don't need to be. I don't need to be doing that. I definitely don't need to be doing that. I see. Uh, our guest is into the studio, so I'm about to welcome in our guest. So I hope you guys enjoy. And obviously, I want you guys to go check out the article that I did because, to me, the article is very important. Some things are bigger than just what goes on in the ring, you know. So I want you guys to join in on the article. Go read it and let me know what you guys think. Let me add my guest to the stage. Um, hold on. You know what's crazy? Uh, my guy. All right, here we go. Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Oh, perfect. Listen, this my first time using StreamYard by myself, just so you know. So you got to bear with me with any technical difficulties.
Gotcha. I don't even know. I just clicked the link and I'm just
Yeah,
here. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's like
But
crazy.
it looked like it's running smooth so far. So I hope it stays that way. I'll say that. I hope it stays that way. Um, hold on. Let me. I should be turning my camera on too. Well, uh, you know, it's funny. My guy, my producer said that he made like an overlay for the interview and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And he said, oh, just click on the box and it should show up. And I think I did it right. I think I did it right. So we'll see. Whatever.
Yeah,
If
I
it's
just
right,
clicked on.
it's
I just
right.
clicked on the box and clicked on that little thing and it asked for the mic and then the said
Yeah,
the audio thing and it's. I mean, it's working.
yeah.
I can hear you.
That's perfect. But for those who don't recognize the voice that you hear or the face that you saw, that is rising junior welterweight. Yeah, junior welterweight now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Rising junior welterweight. He returns to the ring on June the 6th against Felix Santana. I don't know what I should call you because you do so many different things, but right now you're returning to the boxing ring. So we're just gonna call you the Savage, Mike Kimbel. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, man? That's what they call me. That's me. Um, Nothing. Just right now, I'm on dad mode real quick. I'm in dad mode, but just training, and getting ready, preparing for war, but ready to execute to the point where it might not even be that.
So something that I find very interesting about you, yeah, you're a boxer, but you also did MMA.
Yeah, yes, sir. So I've been doing
Can,
MMA since I was 13. So I'm 29 now. So I've been doing MMA since I was 13. Kickboxing, Muay Thai. My background is more like freestyle kickboxing though, and then
okay.
a lot of grappling tournaments. You know, I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And then when I was a kid, there was no MMA wasn't legal, so we would go to like Rhode Island, New York, wherever, Massachusetts, and we would go have like smokers. So it'd be hard to find guys my weight because I was 70, 75 pounds. So a lot of the guys, I would have to go find them somewhere else, fight. And then when it would come to boxing, I was never like a boxer. My parents, ironically, my mom never wanted me to box. I just kept
Mm-hmm.
getting in trouble. So she brought me to what she thought was a martial arts gym, like a karate dojo or something. And it ended
Yeah.
up being MMA. So then I was like, oh, this is the stuff you see on TV, like Chuck Liddell, Rampage,
Mm-hmm.
George St. Pierre. I'm doing this. So I just stayed with it, and then like I didn't have an amateur boxing career or anything like that. But what separated me was my striking ability in MMA. And then one thing that I could recall now is like I was always a very very little guy because MMA was it was there was only like me and maybe one other kid who were kids doing it. They were all adults and men. So my one of my boxing coaches in the MMA gym would take me over to the Waterbury Pow to spar guys like just boxing that were my size. So I kind of always You just where I'm from, you gotta be able to play basketball or fight, like one or the other. So I wasn't really the best baller, so I just had to get it. I just had to have something sturdy with the hand. So, but once I started training, I was like, whoa, I'm not as tough as I think I am. This shit dangerous.
Yeah. It's funny what you just said reminds me of this old Biggie Smalls line from one of his songs, Things Does Change. He said the streets is a short stop. Either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
I
you know,
mean, yeah,
from certain areas, it's only like but so many things you feel like you could do to get out of your circumstances or to survive the area. So you were introduced to MMA at 13. When were you introduced to traditional boxing?
um, introduced as far as training.
Yeah.
So the misconception, I feel like a lot of people have when it comes to MMA is it's just a wrestling grunt or like guys. It used to like when I was a kid, people in school used to make fun of me and be like, "Oh, that's that white people shit." Oh,
Yeah.
that's that
Yeah.
UFC shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's the UFC is the brand. Like that's the company. That's the
Hmm.
major organization. It's martial arts. So like I was introduced to it, from the start. Like I said, my background, my head coach was a freestyle kickboxer. So boxing was heavy orientated. But as far as like the sweet science, like I would say 15 is when I had like a box. So, all right, a typical, because it sounds a little crazy, but we'll go to the gym, right? From 5 to 6 is straight boxing fundamentals. 6 to 7 is straight kickboxing. Then 7 to 8 or is jujitsu and wrestling. And now 8 to 9 is sparring. So it would, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's how it would go. But as far as like me going into the boxing only gym, my coach would pick me up from the MMA gym. I was about 15 and I would go and I would just spar. I remember I forgot the name, but I remember I would go to the Waterbury Power with Tuffy and I would spar the guys at my size over there. He would take me to my old boxing coach Bryant. He would take Brian Cabant. He would take me to Meriden. And funny, I've known like Carlito and them since I was like 14, 15 years old, but I was half their
Hmm.
size. Now I'm taller
Yeah.
than them, ironically, but I was half their size. So that's
Yeah.
how long I've kind of been in the vicinity. But I never, I never gave myself credit to call myself a boxer because I respect the sport. You're not a boxer unless you box. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like you're not a mix. If you are a jujitsu practitioner, you could be a black belt. You're not a mixed martial art. You're not a mixed martial arts fighter. You're a jujitsu practitioner. You know, if you train kickboxing, but you've never had a kickboxing bout, you're not a kickboxer. You train kickboxing. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
never called myself a boxer. And then ironically, once I got out of my contract with Bellator and it was getting hard to find fights in MMA for whatever reason, this little guy was about to be born. And my agent was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, what am I going to do? My agent was like, hey, this promotion's coming to the casino. Do you want to box? I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. So, I was training with Chad Dawson at the time. And I went,
Legend.
got my license. And, the rest is still being written. I'm 8-0 right now. God willing, I'll be 9-0 June 6th. And just from overlooked and laughed at as like that MMA guy, and then even when I was in MMA, I was always the kid who was always used to being put like second to last. And then it just ironically, I was the kid out of my city who was fighting on TV, was on the top 3 on the ESPN with the knockouts. It just I've always just where I come from, I feel like I'm always gonna be the underdog, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't treat myself like an underdog. You know what I mean? I train where I want to be. This is what I do. So this moment right now, June 6th, from being he's doing MMA now. I mean, he's doing boxing now. He's an MMA guy to headlining a card in a boxing city that's boxing has been around forever. Willie Pett fought in Waterbury. you know, there's a bunch of names out of Connecticut. Chad Dawson, former world champion, Cordell Booker
Yeah.
fought for a world title. Connecticut's is very, very boxing orientated, and to bring
Yeah.
that outside of the casinos, to put a team around me, to be able to headline at a historic Waterbury Palace Theater like in the city, not Mohegan territory or Foxwood, like that, that's Connecticut, but like I'm talking about for the town in the city, like
Yeah.
real boxing. I was talking to my old heads because I like to I like to attend cigar dinners and things like that, and my old heads that own businesses and grandparents and stuff. I like to learn from them. So they talk about they used to go to the Palace Theater and watch, Mike Tyson events on the TV and stuff. Like it's nostalgia, for the new generation, for
Yeah.
the old generation. This is one of those situations where I'm just blessed to be able to be still writing the story, but take a second and just realize like the amount of work and just how things have just gone. And then being on the shelf for a year and a half because I refused to sign contracts with long extensions that I know I don't deserve. So it's like, took a real risk. And sometimes, I was feeling guilty for a little bit because, I got this little man here. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
dad's job is to fight. Like, what are we going to do? But, I prayed on it, and now I get to go answer my calling, and that's to put pause on somebody in a big event, you
Now,
know?
how does having your son with you motivate you to be the best fighter that you can be in the boxing ring?
It's weird because he definitely, to each his own. I'm not knocking on anybody, but me, I'm heavy driven by faith. So, I feel like he's what I needed when I needed him. But at the same time, I'm the oldest of six. I got three brothers, two sisters. Um, I've always been like the dad kind of. I changed all their diapers. I was the first one to make mistakes, first one to get the ass whoopings. Like I've always been like a dad kind of figure, but in a small body. But the difference is, I would go hard in my family is my motivation. But having my son, if I mess up, like okay, I mess up, right, blah blah blah, like whatever, like it is what it is. But now it's like even the way I think, everything is calculated. Everything is okay. Well, if I do this, what is the point? What's the ultimate end goal? What's the benefit? I'm thinking farther along than just in the moment. Like,
Yeah.
not to have a cliche story, but where I come from, no, I wasn't planning on making it to 20 years old. And once I turned 20, I was like, oh shoot, I'm 20. And then once I turned 21, it's like, okay, God bless you. Once I turned 21, it's like, all right, I'm here for a reason. Like, it's time to tighten up. And then,
No,
ultimately
I,
having
I
my
understand
son.
that completely. Yeah, I understand that completely. Like I used to tell people, if I would have known I was going to live this long, maybe I would have did things differently. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah, you never know, right? That's life though.
Yeah.
Yes, I would just say my son definitely improved, my appreciation for life and
Yeah.
my mental capacity, like my mental maturity, because, I've never been an idiot, but I also, didn't care too much about other than what I cared about. Now I take everything into consideration. Um,
Yeah. That's amazing. That really is amazing. Now, how did you hook up with Bad Chad Dawson, who is obviously boxing fans? We know that name automatically. He's a boxing legend. How'd you end up crossing paths with him?
So, my agent PG worked with Chad, and I've known about Chad, for a long time. Obviously, Chad's the man. Um, and when I was still actively do MMA, I wasn't boxing at all. I remember Tremaine Williams was getting ready for a title shot or something. He was sparring. He was fighting a tall guy for the weight class. So I went over and I sparred with him. PG asked me to, and I met Tremaine, and he was like, "Yo, bro, you're not no MMA fighter." I'm like, "What you mean?" He's like, "Nah, you a boxer. You need a box." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I was already thinking about it, but I was like, "Yeah, nah, I'm not. I'm not. I'm the type of guy I stay in my lane. You know what I mean?" So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Nah, that's for y'all." And then when it was
And
when I
for
was
those who don't know who Tremaine Williams is, if you don't remember the name, he's a former super bantamweight title challenger. Used to be with PBC. So that's the Tremaine Williams he's talking about. Go
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry about that.
midget's nasty, man. No, midget's nasty. He deserves his
Yeah.
flowers. But so shortly after that, when I was having a hard time finding a fight, PG was like, "Listen, will you box?" I'm like, Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the only option, right? So he was like, all right, well, I want you to go see Chad. So Chad was in North Haven, so I went down to North Haven, and we were working, and Chad was like, yeah, nah, you could box. We got a lot of stuff to work on, but you can box. Like, you not no MMA fighter, like from what they thought was an MMA fighter. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So then we put the put the time in, trained, and I was with Chad for um 6 fights. He took me down to Jake Paul's camp with him and with all those guys, and you know I learned a lot of stuff from Chad and just the mental aspect and what it takes and how to perform, with the bright lights. Because obviously I'm still nowhere near the level he obtained to, but I'm a step in the right direction. So that was that. And Chad, to this day, keep in contact, love him to death. My head coach now is Colin Albert, who's always been in my corner. You'd always see him as my cut man. He's like a boxing encyclopedia. Like
Yeah,
he used to ref fights for a long time. We're talking when we talk about guys with high IQ, like he's one of those gentlemen that is just he says very few words, but what he does say is like, wow, how did you think about that? So Chad and I understand firsthand because I have a son now. Chad did it all, done it all, had it all, and that's a lot of sacrifice away from your family and your children. Like I felt guilty sometimes in camp right now, come home and I cannot play with him or be with him how he's used to because dad just got to recoup. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So Chad is at the point where his children are older and he wants to enjoy the life with them. He wants to see their basketball games. He wants to be there every step of the moment. And I completely understand that. So, Chad's still in my corner. I just don't, I'm trying to go where he went, and he knows what it takes for you to have to go there. And he also understands that he doesn't have the time to put into me the time that I would need. So, it worked out perfect because, with learning everything I learned from Chad and then transferring it over, and then
Yeah.
being with Colin full time over and Shaq's boxing and fitness. Shaq is an old vet. He's got 40 fights, all the tricks and trades. I'm in a good position when it comes to boxing, and I'm just excited to get ready to show what I've been working on in the dark for well over a year.
Now, what would you say has been some of the key differences in MMA versus boxing, and maybe some things that are similar between MMA and boxing?
So I get this question a lot, and the honest truth is there's a huge misconception between both. If we let's just make it sides between both sides. There's a huge misconception. Boxers all think that they can beat up MMA fighters with hands, and MMA fighters all think that they can actually box. And the truth is, both are unarmed combatants in their mind. They're all tough. Everybody's tough. Everybody trains, but MMA is so broad. Like it's like let's just put it in like MMA is like the army, right? So you got the army. It's huge. Everybody knows what the army is. But then there's special divisions and people that are designed to special groups that are specialists within the army. So it's kind of like that for MMA. Like MMA, hold on, me feel. MMA is so broad that it gets overlooked. There's striking specialists that literally can put gloves on and starch a lot of
Yeah,
boxers. And then there's, boxers that naturally athletic wise, can handle themselves. And if they catch an MMA fighter, they can, it's two completely different things. I don't think, everyone from MMA could just transfer over and box because the difference in the sports are, you know, the pace is different, the range is different, the tactics are different. You got a short time to at a faster pace
yeah,
with less ways to take a break. You know what I mean? But then at the same time in MMA, you're fighting for a 5 minute round, and you have a lot more time with a lot more weapons to utilize. So it's two completely different landscapes. It's legitimate like football and basketball. The sports are completely different, but the similarities is the discipline, the grind, the film study, the the physicality of it, um, and the fact that it's dangerous. Ultimately, unarmed combat boxing and MMA, unarmed combat sports. At the truth of it, it's who can impose more violence on their adversary to get them to submit
Yeah.
or to quit or to be, you know, not standing at the end. That's what the sport is. You know, obviously you got the lights and the certain people and theatrics in it, and it's cool and it's trendy, and it is. I love the sport. I'm a fan of the sports, but it's who can impose the most violence on the other person. You know, that's what it is. That's the similarity between the sports. But other than that, it's very different, completely different. You know.
Now, June 6th, you fight Felix Santana. Um, to me, you're in like a bit of a tricky spot because while you're kind of young in your boxing career, if you really think about it, but you're also 29 years old, so there's like a balance between how quickly you should be moving through the boxing ranks to make sure you maximize your career. What's like the game plan for how your manager or your team plans on moving you and stepping you up levels to get you ultimately to world title contention?
You know, I think everybody's different. Each person's situation is
Hmm.
is different. You know, when you hear when them toddlers stop making noise, okay, there he is.
You
So
gotta make sure that
everybody's
I
yeah,
make
make
sure
sure
that
he
I burn the house down.
yeah, it was quiet for a second. So you know,
Oh man,
um,
I'm done with those years, thankfully.
man, I'm enjoying it, man, because it's going quick. But
Yeah, now
yeah,
when it's quiet, they're just on the iPad, so I'm not worried about it no
yeah,
more.
nah, we don't even I don't even own one. We don't do that. I'm a little old school, but to each his own, man. But you know, everybody's situation is different. You know, what I noticed in the sport, the common denominator is everybody wants to, you know, it's almost like bullies. You know, people want to beat up guys they're guaranteed to beat up,
Yeah,
and they want to feel good about themselves to say they did it and then, you know, just keep building off that. Me personally, I started boxing to make money to provide for my son and my family. Um, and I know what it takes to have to do that and who I have to fight. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm the best in the world right now, but what I am saying is I'm confident that I will be. And
okay.
and the reason that I'm confident with that is, you know, from my first boxing fight, you know, and the competition I've been fighting, each step has been a test, it's been a push. It's been, you know, maybe not necessarily 50-50, you know, it's been 60-40 or, you know, things like that. But you know, everybody I fought has a chance to beat me. And in MMA, you know, I fought a lot of good guys. You know, a few guys are in the UFC. Um, you know, there's a guy who will be in the UFC. So you know, I fought competition. Um, you know, guys that can handle themselves with anybody. So in boxing, I don't think that it's any different. Like, you know, this is a step up. You know, he's 7-2. He's never been finished. His losses there's only, you know, undefeated guys. And you know, I've been out the ring for a year, and I'm coming back to fight him for a title. And you know, some people might be like, "Oh, well, you know, like I see guys in my position fighting guys I don't know 4-10 or 4-7." It's like,
Yeah,
for what?
yeah,
Like, what? I don't get it. So you know, where I'm trying to go is to be a world champion, and I'm still new to the community, like as far as the belts and the minor titles and the rankings and stuff like that, and it's very, very, very political, um, and I just try not to be involved in it at all. You know, who
yeah.
am I
Let,
gonna
let
fight
your
that's gonna
team
level me
advocate
up?
for you. Yeah,
Yeah, who am I gonna
let your
fight
team
that's gonna
handle all
level
that.
me up? You know what I mean? So, you know, God willing, I go in there, I get this job done. You know, I'm looking to stay active, but I'm looking to learn something each fight. So when when I get that chance, you know, I don't get blown out of the water as opposed to,
Yeah,
you know, a lot of guys you see, they're 20-0, 25-0. They get their shot and then they can't hang because they haven't been tested. You know,
yeah,
I'm I'm 8-0 as a boxer, you know, but when you add in the amateur experience and the mixed martial arts experience, you know, I can fight. You know, I'm not the best boxer in the world yet, you know, but I can fight. And I'm not in there trying to prove how tough I am. I'm already tough. And I'm not in there trying to fight guys to just that I could guarantee beat, it's a walk in the park because I'm not trying to prove that I can fight. Since I was 20 years old, ESPN highlights, um, hold record in organizations, things like that, knockouts, going the distance against tough guys, losing to very tough guys in MMA. In boxing, I'm fortunate enough to, I've been remaining victorious, but that training and that grind and how hard MMA is makes boxing simpler to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not going to say boxing is very, very hard. The training is intense, and this is by no means an easy sport, but it's simpler to me. You know what I mean? So when we talk about 90% mental, because of how simple it is to me, it comes quick to me. So I don't plan on, just beating up a bunch of bums like this guy. He's a step up. He's never been finished.
Hmm.
And I plan on going out there and
Being the
showing
first
everything
one to
I've been
knock him
working
out,
on, and
basically.
being the first one to finish them and prove something to everyone and make some noise. Shake the city and make some noise because in a picture perfect world, we're fighting for our first title at like 15-0 or 16-0, but it's who
Yeah.
you fight. You know what I mean?
Hey, and with PG in your corner, 15-0, that might happen within like the next year, a year and a half, because he
Yeah,
keep his guys active.
yeah. Well, that's the plan, man. And then shout out Force Promotions.
Yeah.
I know the promoter personally. He's an advocate of mine for the longest, an advisor, and he's seen firsthand just the contract negotiations and BS that I've been dealing with. And
Yeah.
he was like, you know what? Let's throw our own show. Let's give a bunch of fighters different opportunities and open a door for people that are in the same boat just like you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's amazing. I can't be more grateful. And now it's time to
Now,
deliver.
the current champions at 140, you have Dalton Smith, you have Gary Antoine Russell, you have Shakur Stevenson. Then the IBF is vacant. Who knows who's going to be the champions by the time you get your shot? But do you have guys in this stacked division that you're specifically targeting? Because you are in one of the deepest divisions in all of boxing.
Nah, nobody I'm specifically targeting, but I had the honor to hold all the belts, obviously, because Chad Dawson, and I really like how the IBF belt looked with that eagle, that red belt with the eagle. I
Hmm.
really like
Hmm.
that belt, and but to be a world champion, any organization doesn't matter. When I think about it in hindsight, I'm a little ways away from those guys. I gotta build my record. I have the name, I have the followers. You know what I mean? I just gotta build. I gotta pay my dues in the sport. So I got a little bit of a body of work I gotta get checked off. But I spent a lot of time in London. I got a lot of supporters and fans in London because my big bro Michael Venom Page, who will be at the fight. Top
That's
15 UFC
MVP,
fighter,
right? The guy they
MVP.
call
Yeah.
MVP? Okay.
Yep. So he'll be at the fight, but that's my big brother. I get a lot of love out in London and in England, and I spent a lot of time over there with him in camps, in mixed martial arts and stuff like that. And I feel like a fight with Dalton Smith would be huge. I would love to go over to UK and fight. They love me over there, but again, I'm a little ways away from that, and I also don't want to overlook the task I have at hand.
Yeah.
But I am confident, and that's the goal, to be a world champion. Not do it to be cool or trendier because everybody's an influencer on the gram now, and everybody can box, or you got guys that throw content up on how to throw a jab, and I'm not that guy. I'm a fighter. Like, I get active, and I'm really from there. So the goal is just keep stacking them up.
Now, where would you rank yourself in the 140-pound division, as of right now? Obviously, you have designs on being top of the division maybe in a year or two, but where would you put yourself now?
Um, I've been inactive. So, I don't really, that's another thing too when it comes to politics, like the rankings and stuff like that. I think I was ranked like 125 in the world in the division at one point. I'm inactive now, so there's no ranking. So we'll see
Oh,
what
you talking
happens
about
after this
box
fight.
rec? You talking about box
Box
rec?
rec, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, I don't really know how that stuff goes, but I know I'll see where I'm at after this. But,
Yeah, box rec
I
is a computer algorithm formula that they use. I'm actually pretty good friends with one of the guys who runs BoxRec. It's just a computer algorithm. I mean, the more you're active, the higher you'll move up in the rankings. You just gotta beat people above you, and you'll end up shooting up, basically.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I just see myself as a problem for anybody in the division. Uh,
yeah,
as much as people see the right hand knockout, I have if you ever watch the fight, I have a great jab. I've always had a great jab. I got quick hands. I'm strong. I'm 5'9", but my arms are 6'2". Um, I think I'm a problem for anybody in the division. But at the same time, in this sport, all it takes is one mistake, and you can really, really pay for it. So I don't really look too much as to like the rankings and who's above me and who's below me and things like that. There's a lot of people that I don't even know their name because I train, I fight, I study, I watch film, and I'm just I hang out with my friends, I spend time with my family. I'm a dad, I'm a big brother, I'm an uncle.
yeah,
And I focus on that stuff. Like there's a lot of, oh, do you know so and so, or did you hear about? So it's like, bro, I don't even know what you're talking about.
yeah.
You know
Now
what I
I
mean?
know you gotta actually go be a dad right now. So I know we're gonna have to cut it short. But for any boxing fans out there who haven't seen you fight yet, just tell them what they can expect to see from you on June 6th.
What you can expect to see from me on June 6th is execution of the sweet science. At a high level. If you like slick guys, you might like me. If you like fast guys, you might like me. If you like power punchers, you might like me. Um, I got a little bit of everything, legit. I'm also not afraid to take risks in there. I'm not trying to pity pat and coast to win. Like I start hard and I finish hard. And then if whatever comes in between, if he gets stopped, he gets stopped. I haven't knocked everybody out. I've won three fights by decision, but dominant fashion. If you like boxing and you like, what? Forget boxing. If you like sports, if you like the lights and you like seeing moments where people is on that, I'm on that. So you're in for a night of excitement, man. And I say that humbly because at the end of the day, I bleed like everybody bleeds, and I'm a human like everybody else. I'm no better than anybody on a human level. But when the lights
Hmm.
is on and the pressure's on, I'm gonna show up.
Now, where can the people follow your journey at?
You can follow my journey at my Instagram is Kimbel Mike, Kimbel Mike. I don't really use X at all, but it's the same on that. It's Mike Kimbel or Michael Kimbel on Facebook. You can find me. Mike the Savage Kimbel, Google, YouTube, um, TikTok. I got a TikTok now because that's the wave, I guess. Kimbel Mike on TikTok. Yeah, my name is me. It's not too hard to find. If anybody's looking.
Yeah, yeah, listen, when I was looking for you doing my research, I thought I had the wrong guy because the MMA guy popped up. I was like, wait, this dude does both. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. But listen, man,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to you getting the knockout. June 6th, Waterbury, Connecticut. Mike Kimball versus Felix Santana, man. I can't wait.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking the time and even wanting me on to do a skit with me. And I just appreciate it. I appreciate anybody that appreciates what I do, man. So I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on your platform. And yeah, man, you're
We
gonna you're gonna
definitely
hear
got to do
about it,
this
man.
again. We definitely got to go more in depth next time. We definitely got to do this again.
For sure, man. And shout out
Uh,
to Waterbury Power, man, because we got 10% of the proceeds of the event going straight to the youth programs. And we have, instead of having ring girls, we have a lot of the people that I teach in the boxing program participating. And, a lot of them have never seen a professional show or even been to a fight at all. So, shout out them for being so supportive and allowing me the opportunity in the stage to show the children something because I was that kid from that environment that it took for me to see one fight or going to the gym one time. And now I'm able to talk to people and sit at rooms and be at tables that with the cards I was dealt in life, it should have never happened. So shout out to Pal for that, being so cooperative. Gotta give him these flowers.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. No doubt, man. Listen, I appreciate you for joining me. June 6th. Best of luck on all your future endeavors. Hopefully we do this again very, very soon. Mike Kimbel, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fight news. It's not fight news. Brunch Boxing.
Brunch Boxing, man. Y'all. Brunch Boxing, man. Y'all. Man, y'all keep doing y'all thing. Keep working hard, man.
Hey, I don't know what Brunch Boxing is, but shout out to them.
Fight news.